What did he say?
Okay, let me read you then the what happened. So President Trump offered kind words to Ghislaine Maxwell, the British socialite accused of procuring young girls to be sexually abused by the late investor Jeffrey Epstein. Quote, he said, "I just wish her well, frankly," end quote, Trump told reporters. So basically, what he said, the reporter asked him, "What do you think of Maxwell and whatever?" And he just said, I am not following. I am not sure what's going on still. Like, I don't know what's happening with Prince Andrew, but I wish her well." Kind of like, whatever. And so later on, when he got a big controversy over this, and then the White House secretary said what he meant by it is he wishing her well because of what happened with Epstein, that he was killed in prison, or sorry, suicided in prison. That he was just wishing her well, right? So do you
Right.
think is that answer satisfactory to you?
Well, they're gonna twist anything he says, no matter what. I know exactly what he meant by it. I mean, what he meant by it is he wanted to keep it short and sweet. He's not going to let anything out of the bag of what's going on in the investigation, and that's the way that I see that. Is that's it. One sentence answer, and they twisted it. That's go
Yeah.
figure.
I mean, his answer was kind of weird, but this is exactly what the press secretary says. She said, and I quote here, "What the president was noting is that the last person who was charged in this case ended up dead in a jail cell." End quote. So
Right.
that makes sense to me. Some people are saying that it's not satisfactory, that reply, that, and maybe he knew her well, that they're friends, and so they took it like on face value. And so yeah, I mean, it's a big deal right now. And also, I want to ask you about Trump wearing a mask recently. What do you think about that?
He wore a mask.
He's been wearing mask, yes. Let me share the page with you. So this from 22 hours ago. Let me share this page. So Trump shifts rhetoric as he urges mask wearing, warns of worsening pandemic.
I don't I don't I don't think that's a good idea.
Right? I mean, that's what I thought too. I'm like, we're trying to push back against this nonsense. And then and I feel like he's being pushed to do so because how it's being played out right now, that everybody that's a Trump supporter is again against wearing masks. So they politicized it, right? So now they're saying, oh, it's all your fault that people on the right don't want to wear masks. And
Wow.
now they're like kind of like pushing him. Okay, well, you need to set an example to your followers, obviously. And I don't know who's he getting advice from, but he should put his foot down. And if he doesn't feel like wearing one, why are they forcing him? Like
Right.
now, so do you feel like with him forcing him to do so, are you gonna follow suit, or that doesn't change your stance on masks?
No, I'm not wearing a mask, and that's never going to change.
Yeah, me too. That's how I feel exactly. I mean, it's just scientifically it doesn't make any sense. We have not seen studies yet that prove that they actually work, right? So
Absolutely.
same like when they closed the pools, when they closed the beaches, not one study was presented to the public that shows proof. Oh, if you go to the beach, you're gonna catch the virus, right? If you go to a mom and pop shop, you're gonna catch the virus. But if you go to Walmart and Home Depot, you're not. No
Right.
studies were ever shown to the public, and the public took orders on face value and just complied blindly, right? And so, I mean, this is ridiculous. So I hope he does not, you know, wear it every time he comes on TV.
Well, I just watched a couple minutes of a briefing that he just did, and he wasn't wearing one.
Oh, that's good. That's good. So let me also, I want to show you something. Remember in our actually research regarding the movement alongside BLM and Ilan Omar?
Yeah.
So I want to show you what Glenn Beck has been following up. So about a month ago, when we started talking, me and you, and we kind of like clicked immediately on the same subject matter, I sent Glenn Beck an email, and I told him what was happening in my city with that, with the building, and what I've done, and then what I've been sensing and noticing. And so for some reason, I don't know if he read my email or not. I have not received a reply, but he's been on the subject ever since. And today, he blew my mind, because today he actually was kind of like heated over it. So let me put it on. And I know I want you to let me know if you can't hear it. So I can, let's see right here. Okay. Hopefully you'll be able to hear and see if anything. So.
No, I can't hear it.
All right, let me share it. Can you hear?
I cannot. Nope, I can't hear nothing on the video.
Oh, are they blocking like the sound from showing? Or am I sharing wrong? Let me see. Sharing screen. Okay, here we go. Okay, now you should be able to hear this.
Not who we used to be, and certainly the Democratic Party is not. America is not who we used to be, and certainly the Democratic Party is not. The American left has taken a very hard turn on Israel. People like Ilan Omar, Cornel West, Bob Avakian, they have used their spotlight to push for BDS boycott and divestment and sanctions against Israel. Now, you'd think that there would be very little support in this country for that, but those who do support it, again, are not hiding it anymore. I want to show you a picture of a group of people heading to Ilan Omar's office. She was condemned for anti-Semitism on the floor. This is her walking into her office. This is Linda Sarsour there. But the man on the right is Nihad Awad, the director of CARE and the Council of on American Islamic Relations. Again, when I first saw this, I thought it was more evidence of infiltration, but I believe it's integration, not infiltration. I told you earlier that 2014 was a very big year for this budding relationship. I want to show you a speech by the CARE director at the Muslim America Society's annual convention right after Ferguson. Listen.
African Americans and Latinos, we have to help those people in their causes, because their causes are our causes. Black Lives Matter is our matter. Black Lives Matter is our campaign.
I wish I had better news, but another major news outlet just labeled my critical.
What does a Marxist organization in America have to do with an American Islamic relation? Why did they declare that this Marxist movement is their campaign? Well, as it turns out, BLM and CARE have been organizing all over the country. This is a BLM protest with CARE in Florida. Here's another one recently in New York City.
Resistance is justified from New York to Palestine. To Minnesota.
Wow.
Globalize the Intifada.
Wow. Globalize the Intifada. That is remarkable to hear on our streets, and no one say anything about it.
So what do you think, Rich? He keeps going on and on. Like, I will leave the link for this video into the comments box. So here we go. Here we are again, me and you, calling this out from the get-go and trying to warn people about the infiltration that's happening. So there is a plan going on. There is a movement that has already started, and people kind of unaware of it. It's like they're sneaking in. What do you think, Rich, about this?
I am lost for words, and this right here needs to be, everybody needs to see this and hear this, because so many people are unaware of it. This right here will be the downfall to America if this continues on.
Yeah, I see and I agree with you. And like I told everybody before in my second podcast, you guys can go and check it out. And wherever I dug into how and when did the mosques start or announcing the call for prayer on loudspeakers, and that Ilhan Omar and CARE together, they met in LA last year in around March, and they decided to mobilize. So the only thing that is really upsetting to me, and I want your opinion on this, do you still have faith in Americans' institutions? Rich, in a way where you can see justice being done and following up with corrupt politicians and any of this? Do you see that we are actually getting things done in that direction, or are we still failing to secure America, to lock up criminals? What do you think?
We're failing miserably in the Democratic states, I can tell you that. I can't speak for the red states. All we're seeing and hearing is the devastation that's going on in the Democratic cities, and I've lost all hope for them.
Right.
100%.
Right. And also, like, so we can see how the mayor of Portland, I guess he got gas yesterday or something. I mean,
yep.
And the funny part is that these politicians, they're allowing these thugs to destroy their cities, and then they go and they kneel with them, and then they allow them, and they order the police force to stand down. And then what happens? The crowds turn on them, and yet they still allow the mob to continue on with their destruction. And so I hope whatever Trump is doing right now is gonna, is gonna have some effect. But also politicians in Washington. For example, Ilhan Omar has been already found guilty with immigration fraud, in her campaign finance fraud, and she's still walking around free. Is she above the law?
I've been posting it all the time. Where's the indictments? We need the indictments. These people have committed major crimes, and nothing is being done. And I have no answers for that, and I don't know why.
I mean, if we can see, okay, something that's already wide on the open, everybody knows about it. She knows about it, and she's getting away with it. So she's being treated as she is above the law. Are the Republicans like this much spineless to go after her?
They are. I've lost all hope in the Republicans.
I mean, so at this point, we don't believe in the news media. We lost faith in the FBI. We lost faith in our national security. We lost faith in every single Democratic governor or mayor. I mean, who's left? It's going to end up being vigilante work. It's going to come down to regular people taking matters into their own hands. Do we want that? I don't want that, because now it's going to be chaos beyond belief. It's going to be just insanity. And we all want to avoid that. So let me show you one more clip to back up what I just said. Let me see right here. I've saved it. It was on Tucker Carlson, I believe. right here. So let me share this news clip and let me know if you can hear it.
Yeah, I can hear it. Yeah, I can hear it.
Mark Esper is a former defense lobbyist who's now Secretary of Defense. Esper was not elected to that position, obviously. He was appointed to it by the president, who was himself elected. That's the chain of command in a democracy, always. Voters choose their representatives. Those representatives choose their staff. But all power flows from the public, who vote in elections, from you, me, and the rest of us. When cabinet officials ignore the instructions of elected leaders, they are ignoring voters and attacking democracy. In the case of the military, it's especially dangerous. Our armed services are controlled by the president, who was elected. In many countries, that's not the case. When politicians in those places do something the military doesn't like, the generals stage a coup or they threaten one. Places like that invariably are violent and chronically unstable. We're not at all like that here, and we don't want to be. We can give our nuclear weapons to the military on the promise that we're essentially in charge of when they use them, because we elect presidents who make that call. You probably knew all that. It's basic civics, or it was until Donald Trump got elected. Recently, the president suggested that he might invoke the Insurrection Act that would allow him to use American troops to quell the riots in our cities. Now, that's his call. You can agree with it or not, but he's the president. It's up to him. It is not up to Mark Esper. If Mark Esper doesn't like it, he can resign and he can vote against Donald Trump in the fall. He may do that anyway. But that's his option. What Esper can't do, what we cannot let him do if we care about democracy, is to subvert the order of the president he works for, no matter who the president is. And yet yesterday, Mark Esper appeared to do exactly that. He gave a press conference in which he announced that he opposes using troops to bring order to the country. American troops in Syria and Afghanistan are absolutely necessary. We can't pull them out. It's immoral. But we can't use Americans to protect America. That's Mark Esper's position. Apparently, Esper said this at the urging of active duty generals at the Pentagon. Now, once again, it doesn't matter whether you agree with their position. This kind of behavior is a grave threat to all of us and to our constitutional system. And that system is teetering tonight. We hate even to say that out loud, but it's true. It is. Some in Washington would like to see the system collapse completely. Congressman Reuben Gallego, for example, just sent a letter to General Mark Milley, he's the chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff, telling him to defy the elected president if ordered to suppress the riots. This is insanity.
I mean, can you believe what's happening, Rich?
I cannot believe it. It's I'm lost for words. I mean,
the generals, the Pentagon people. I mean, what's going on?
Yeah, it just makes you wonder how deep this corruption goes, man. It is mind-boggling.
Well, we got a battle ahead of us that is insane. I gotta tell you that much. I mean, it's like from every side. The attack is from every direction, and I don't know how we're gonna be able to fight this off. Honestly, it's gonna be tough. So, somebody, I think he's an ex. He served. I'm not sure, but let me see.
Wright is a Democrat. He's a former.
Okay, here we go. So,
Brian Dean Wright is a Democrat. He's a former CIA officer, and we're happy to have him join us tonight. Brian, thanks so much for coming on. Now, I'm not even going to ask you what you think of the president's idea to invoke the Insurrection Act to put troops on the streets. I want to ask instead about the chain of command. You served in government. Can bureaucrats decide unilaterally to make policy?
Well, that's what we've seen the past 3 years, isn't it? Brennan, Clapper, Comey, all that's now coming out. That's not a new phenomenon, of course. It's a horrifying one, but it's not new. But what we have here, I think, more specifically, is a Secretary of Defense who doesn't get it. All right, right now, let's just cut to the chase, Tucker. This country is on fire. We are facing an insurrection by people that we don't quite understand who they are, but by all indications, they are violent leftist thugs. And what Secretary Esper doesn't quite seem to get either is that the nation is panicking. 71% of us want the National Guard in our cities tonight. 58% of us want the military in our cities tonight. All right, the people are panicking. The country is on fire. Now, who is attacking us? Mr. Esper should know this.
Right.
It's Antifa, Department of Justice, NYPD. Others are saying this very clearly. These are people, by the way, that we faced back in the 1960s and 70s and early 80s. These were people who were far leftist, Marx, Lenin, folks who embraced that ideology. They allied with Black Panther movements, and it took many years to finally put it down. Very dangerous. And now this same group, who is allied, by the way, with the Democratic Socialists, we're talking to Bernie Bros and Ms. Ocasio-Cortez, they're back. They're back with firebombs. They're back with bricks in our suburbs and our downtowns. That's something that Mr. Esper clearly doesn't understand. And then finally, we have a media that is feeding this flame, this horrific fire, this seditiousness. You have brought this up many times, including tonight. Let me read a headline from Slate magazine. Just yesterday, it said the following. Peaceful protests are an important tool, but so is violence. So now we have a media filling the airways full of this crap.
Yeah.
Put it all together. And the piece that you mentioned, no more police, because we're going to defund those folks. We can't put forward the National Guard because that would be escalation. So now we take off the military from the table. What does that leave, Tucker? Let me tell you what it leaves. Vigilante justice.
That's exactly
It's you
right.
and me and everybody watching this program arming ourselves. Is that how we run a republic? No, sir, it is not.
You're
and you do
exactly
not want a country that goes there. And that is precisely where the nation is headed. And we need for all of our leadership to understand that. And if Secretary Esper doesn't get it, doesn't understand that the oath is to protect ourselves from threats, both foreign and domestic, by God, you get the hell out of the Pentagon and let somebody lead who gets it. Because that is the oath that he took, that I took, and that the people of this country demand of our leadership in this moment, because we are on fire. Someone do something about it.
I couldn't agree more. That's inspiring, Brian. I appreciate.
So, Rich, tell me if that gave you goosebumps or what?
Yeah, he's spot on right there, man.
Well, I mean, and this is insanity. I don't understand how they're letting this just play on. And now we've got this jihad accompanied with Antifa, right? Now look at the enemies. The enemies are all uniting against us, right?
Yep.
And people don't understand that in the beginning of Islam, they were the biggest slave owners in history.
Right.
They enslaved black people. Muhammad himself said the devil is a black man.
Wow.
Okay? And then look at how they turn around. They manipulate their way, and they go and they include themselves. They integrate themselves with black people.
Right.
So they're so they are very, very, very tactical and insidious, right? And so this movement is very dangerous. And I don't know how much the the country, the intelligence inside America is, but I know we are all being monitored. I know that they follow everything. They hear every word. They see everything. Everybody, right? So why are we letting our country go?
That's a good question. Nobody seems like they're doing anything, and President Trump needs to start doing more. I mean, I support him 100%, but he's got the power, and who cares what people think? If they got to do the Insurrection Act, then by golly, it needs to be done. I mean, something's got to put an end to this anarchy.
It must be done. In my opinion, it must be done, because look at what these mayors and governors doing. They're letting these cities burn to the ground. People are losing their lives, they're losing their businesses, they're losing their homes. I mean, what is this? I mean, all of this is my fears is this is all going to escalate until the election. And we already know after the election, they're not going to be satisfied with the results. So this is going to continue on. I mean, this is a disaster. This needs to be nipped in the butt right now.
Yes, it does.
It's even worse, because they have no limits. They will they will try to do even more. And so, I mean, like we have as people, okay, that love the patriots, that love their country. It is not the time for you right now to sit on the sideline and watch. It is time for us to mobilize.
Absolutely.
It's time for us to stand up for our country. We gotta back up our, politicians who love and have loyalty to this country.
Right.
So we need to do whatever we need to do. Contact your mayors, city officials, and just ask, how can we support you guys? We need to do something. We need to protect our cities, our businesses, our schools, our families, and this is it. It's time to counter back this attack, okay? And of course, we don't want violence. We're not advocating for violence, but we want to support our city officials, our law enforcement officers, and stand strong to protect our cities and our towns.
Absolutely.
Is there anything you want to add, Rich? You want to discuss about something on your mind?
No, I think you covered a lot of it right here. We're in trouble. Like you just said it. Everybody needs to do something. We got to get off the sidelines. We have to fight, no matter if it's on the internet, contacting your officials, whatever it is. We have to do it, or we're gonna lose everything. Because these people are not gonna stop, like you just said.
No, they're not. What do you think of what Twitter have done about the Twitter account? The Q following people on Twitter. They shut down all their accounts. I think it was like over, like in thousands. I think. What do you think of that move from Twitter?
Yeah, I think it was like 60,000. Just unbelievable. I mean, another attack on the conservatives.
Right. That's what I think it is, and especially now that we're getting closer and closer to the elections, because Q followers been on Twitter for how many years now, right? But they decided to do it today. So that tells you what's going on exactly. I mean, it is, what a disgrace. And what do you think of the attack that happened on the judge that's handling the Maxwell case? They murdered her son and injured her husband.
Yeah, they're not even trying to hide their corruption. I mean, it is just, Lord help us. It's like you said, it's all around us. Yeah, I mean, that is not a coincidence by any stretch of the means.
Oh yeah, definitely. And I'm telling you, they only did this because they are panicking.
Yep.
And that's a good sign. If they are panicking, that means the rope is getting shorter and shorter, and they are gasping for air.
Right. Absolutely.
And so we gotta just stay resilient, and we gotta fight. We gotta stay strong and united. That's what the most important thing, because they will try to separate us, right? So as long as we stand united, we will win this battle. I have faith, and I know that it's God's plan. And no matter what they do, if we keep faith in God, we know we're gonna win.
Absolutely, I agree 100%. We will win this.
We will. Yep. God on our side, we will. Amen. All righty, Rich, thank you again. And we will be on again soon. Take care. Thank you, Rich.
Thank you. Thank you for having me on. We'll talk to you soon.
Bye-bye. Take care.
Bye-bye. Bye.